in your hand in 60 seconds or less. Harvey, what's the grand prize?
It's a fabulous new car.
Actually, it's a fabulous old car. The 1967 Buick Riviera. It's all mine. I got my historical plates on it. Overall, it looks like it's in pretty good condition. It's not in great condition. There's a lot that can be improved, and there are a number of electrical issues with it, and probably mechanical issues with it. I'll come around over here. Everything's in really nice shape. But then you can, start looking closely, and you'll find a little bit of rust there. Paint is coming off over here. Various things. The rubber here is cracked. It's to be expected. I mean, the car is a 67, so what is it really here that we're talking about? Obviously, the guy who owned it previously had clipped the curb a couple times with the tires, unfortunately. It's got I don't know if they're original or whatever, but the rims are pretty freaking awesome on it. Little rust bubble over here, or paint glob or something I don't want to touch. A couple scratches. Like I said, it's not in the best shape, but it's certainly not bad. A couple scratches and cracked paint there, but otherwise it looks pretty good. Here's the logo on the back, right there. The tail light, obviously I'm deliberately not showing the license plate so I don't have to edit it later, the video. The license plate folds down, as you can see, to put the gas in right there. The trunk. I haven't vacuumed it or done anything with it as of yet. I have the chassis service manual. It's here, it's beat up. That might be the other service manual there. That was an old cover that was on the steering wheel, which it was beat up and torn, as you can see there. I guess this is coming down. First aid kit, I haven't even looked in it. I don't know what's in this bag, if anything. I guess a rag of some kind, a glove, a single glove. There's the original jack there. It's a bumper jack, of course. There is a belt there. That's good to know. General Motors. Oh, I wonder if that was original. Yeah, either that. Does that pop on the thing? No, so I guess these are replacement rims, but I guess that would have gone on there originally. And there's also a jar of sweet Vidalia onions. I don't know how old it is. I'm not going to be trying it. It's not something I would buy anyways, but it's in there, so that's that. And a rusty tire lug nut wrench. I haven't gone through the trunk yet, like I said. All metal, everything. That's how they made them. Diagram here for the jack. And here you can see some of the rust right there, going across right there. Places you would pretty much expect to see it. I think that those places with the most rust are where the water runs out along the channel there. It runs out, you can see the rust drippings actually. Closing this, the light is out even when the battery is connected. The light doesn't work. It could just be burned out. I haven't even played with it, nor do I really care. Oh yeah. The old school door handle. The interior was redone at one point. And that is showing signs of wear. There's a tear in the seat there. The center thing was wood, and as you can see, that's screwed. And the console there is screwed also. This is a console here, as you can tell. There's a light bulb in there, clips, fuses, other parts that broke off the car. There's also, curiously, a bulb that's there that is sticking out from the console. might have possibly gone in that hole to light it up, but I don't know for sure or why it's there. Here's the shifter. This has the console shifter. Let me see if I can turn that around. There we are. This you don't need a key. As you can tell, I do not have the key in the ignition. It's off. In 67, it was not standard for a locking steering wheel, so this just turns anytime. And you can also shift this, and there's no interlock or anything. Obviously, I'm just going to step on the brake just to do it so it doesn't roll. Actually, I don't think it will, but just to be safe, you push down, and then you can shift it like that. This is the ashtray. There's some coins, screws, window knobs that are broken off over the years. This obviously is supposed to close, but obviously it does not. It just stays open. Glove box is here. You just push on the lock to open it. Folds out like that. The guy left behind a garage door opener because he said he used to keep it in a garage. Somewhere buried in there was also a cigarette lighter to USB adapter, because of course they had those in 67. And there's also the original 67 Buick Riviera owner's manual in that blue pouch there, in almost mint condition. It's got a little bit of water damage in the top corner of it, but otherwise pretty good. Alright, I'm going to start it up now. Now, I was just out with it, so it is a warm engine, so it'll just fire right up. That's it. That's all she takes. Starts right up. When it's cold, it's a little finicky, but of course all old cars are. No big. Just pump it, and it'll start. So here it is. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's a Buick 430. It's a 430 cubic inch engine, which equates to approximately 7 liters. Big V8. You got your 4 cylinders on this side. And of course your 4 cylinders on this side here. Fan is run by belt off the engine because that's what they did back in the day. It's dirty. The guy used to just drive it as a car. He used to drive it to work and back. So it's got all sorts of road grime on it. Not in great shape, but it runs. Runs pretty nice. There's some oil down in here. If I can see it on the camera. Down in there somewhere. I won't focus on it. So it does leak a bit. Otherwise it's here and it runs. I'll rev it up a little bit. Got some smokage, but it moves. If you really rev it, you'll get some good stuff over here. There is a very fine smoke that I'm sure won't be picked up by the camera. But just listen to that fucking exhaust. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Gauges don't really work right. The oil pressure, as you see, is totally wrong. That always stays pegged. The temperature gauge does work. There is your speedometer. This car has 118,787, and I'm just about out of fuel, so it's not really charging or discharging, or the gauge could just be shot right there. It is reading a little higher than it would normally. If I shut it off, it goes back to 0. I put a meter on the battery. It reads 13.89, which I think is a bit low, but I'll worry about that another time. Right now I'm just enjoying it for the rest of the season. It does have the mechanical clock, which of course doesn't work, and of course right here is how you set it, and nothing happens when you do that. we'll go ahead and shut it down. I'll show you the rest. Over on that side, the center vent, which you can tilt up and down, and of course the vent over here. If you look carefully, you'll see there's a knob here that you can pull out and push in for the vent. Old cars had vents where you could just vent outside air in by opening and closing dampers like that. My old 81 Chevy Citation used to have a thing like that. It had that for the brake release, but it also had two other ones you would pull for the vent. Here's the wiper and washer switches. Obviously, I have everything off, so nothing happens. When you put the sprayer thing, the wash on, it kicks on the wipers. So that's a nice little feature. Of course, all mechanical. This is the knob for the headlights, which flip down. I'm not going to demonstrate that now. You pull it once for parking brakes, parking lights, excuse me, and all the way out for headlights. And you can also turn it, which will vary the illumination in the dash, but of course, that being original, it really does not work too well. Gauges I went over already. Here is your climate control, all mechanical once again. The blower does not work, nor does the radio. This car has a lot of electrical problems, like I had been saying. I have to disconnect the battery whenever I leave the car, otherwise it will go dead. The guy had replaced the alternator, which you probably had noted in a previous clip. He also replaced the regulator, and it looks like the wiper motor was replaced also. None of that works. I have not done anything with this car yet, as I just got it, and I haven't looked at it yet. And now that we're getting into fall and then winter, there's not going to be that much more driving anyway. So next spring I'll either look at it or have it looked at. But this would be your temperature, like that. Over here is the fan, which you can go different positions for, I don't know if it's low, medium, high, or what. It's real tight also. And recirculate, normal, vent, and heater. These are your AC positions, and obviously when you have that off, then that's that. And this, I think, was another vent. No, I'm sorry, that's for the defroster. You go like that, and it directs air up to the window. The radio is AM only. There was an AM/FM option for this car, but this doesn't have it. It's all the mechanical, you know, presets. The way you do that is you pull out the knob, tune in what you want, and then push it all the way in, and it saves it. So because it's all mechanical, when you disconnect the battery, all that stays there. And there's also the light, which would be right here. So that's sort of your map light. And that's that. Gas pedal. It's tethered at the bottom by the floor. So when you step on it, it pushes the top in. On my old Chevy, it was not like that. It was tethered up at the top of there was an arm up under the dash, and when you'd step on it, the bottom of the pedal would go toward the floor rather than the top. And that would pull on all the cables and stuff under the hood, or connecting rods. There was a cable on the Chevy, I think, and that, of course, would rev up the engine. Minor cracks in the dash. Oh, the interior was redone, like I said, it was redone, I think, in the year 2000, and they paid about $2,000 to have the seats done and the carpeting for sure. I think the dashboard is original, at least the top part over here. I'm not certain on that because it could go either way. As usual on a very old car like this, crack in the steering wheel. That's a common place for a crack. All these little spots you see on there were from that cover that was on it. The center here is also cracked there and over there. There's cracks here and cracks here and cracks over here, but again, that's all to be expected. The horn does work. I have the battery disconnected, so nothing is going to happen. I know if you press it there it works, and press it there it works, sort of. So that's your horn. The blinkers don't work. When you try them, the left doesn't do anything and it doesn't stay down. The right stays up, as you see. Look at that. Look how long. Look how long that is. So that does work, but the blinker itself doesn't work. That's the indicator for the right. I take it that's for the left. I don't know what that is. It's never lit up for me, and I don't know what that is either. I guess perhaps it lights up that light when there's an issue with the gauge below it. The book doesn't actually mention anything about that. So I guess if you're discharging here, that light would light up, and if the oil pressure were too far low or too far high or whatever, perhaps that light would come on also. It does have the parking brake as a foot brake, like the Big 6 has. I haven't tested it, and I'm afraid to test it because chances are it hasn't been used, and if you go to use it, it ain't gonna work and it'll jam up. It has remote mirror. That's also not staying quite right, so something's not right with it. And the handle's broken off of that. The thing is coming up there. This carpeting was redone, but I think they just get plain carpeting and dye it to the right color, and obviously it's been here for 15 years, and China Metronics or whatever it is, China dyes, it just didn't last. So it is what it is. It also has tilt steering. If you pull that, I really only have two hands, so I can't really show you. There we go, you can see I tilted it all the way down, and I probably don't want to tilt it up now, but yeah, there we go. Now you get the idea. So it is tilt. Rear seat ashtray with cigarette lighter. There is one in the car hanging around. I don't think it's original. Obviously I have jumper cables in case I need them, which probably one day I will, to get in the back. If you're a little kid, you could probably just slip right in there, no problem. I mean, look at the fucking clearance. This is when they fucking made them. Oh yeah, this is when they made them. And if you're bigger, you push in on that and then move the seat forward, and it folds forward so you can get in, and now you have all of that room there. The rear window rolls up and down. Apparently that's still, I guess, original. And that's how it rolls up. So that's pretty cool. Definitely pretty slick. The seat belt is also interesting. When you go to pull it out, it only has lap belts. It does not have shoulder belts. There were anchors, I think, that could be installed in this car for that, and you could have them, but it really just wasn't common in the day. Of course, this is a body by Fisher. Like I was saying with this, if you notice, that's it. And obviously, that's not going to belt anybody in. And the reason why is because the rest of the belt is down here. Let me pull it out a second. Now you get the idea. So it buckles over on this side, which is totally different from cars today where they buckle on that side. Look at that horse and buggy thing. Kind of awesome. This does have the rear speaker option. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much a very standard model. I don't think it really has any upgrades. The antenna is manual, but it's telescoping. Holy shit. I mean, look at the size of this fucking thing. Look at the size of that antenna. That's huge. That is huge. You would adjust the height of the antenna to get your best reception for the AM stations you listen to. That's why it's variable like that. Goes all the fucking way up here. Holy crap. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to button the car up. We're having tropical storm Hermine now. And the windshield leaks, even though it was resealed. You can actually see, hopefully the camera picks it up, there's gunk there. So they did a shitty job resealing it, and it still leaks, but whatever. I did want to mention one other thing actually before I wrap the video up. They don't make cars like this anymore, and they never ever will again. Just gave me a compliment on the bike. I was saying they don't make cars like this anymore, and they never ever will again. This is a bygone era, and it's a damn shame. It's a goddamn shame, it really is. The car is just fucking gorgeous. I mean, look at these lines. It had character. It was defined. You could tell in a parking lot which was your car because they were all very distinctly styled. Look at the front of this thing. Holy shit. And then we have plain Jane, blah, blah. It's just another car on the road like any of these other plastic pieces that, yeah, great, a fucking Mercedes. Plastic pieces of shit, and a Lincoln, you know. Look at this thing. Come on. You want that with an old lady driving it? Or do you want that with an old lady driving it? Well, we'll skip the old lady part. I bought this car because of how it runs, because of the engine in it, and because of how it drives. You will never, ever get a ride like this in any modern car. It just doesn't happen. Today, ex-Joe81X came over unexpectedly on his motorcycle. I had to actually go to my sister to feed her cat because she's away, and I said, hey, you want to go with me? I need to leave this running. We'll take the Buick there. And he said, sure. So I connected the battery and fired it up, started up without too much fuss. We drove it there. I left it running. I went in and did my thing, came back, hopped back in a car and came back. And then there we are on Route 110, which is a big state road, 3 lanes, 55 miles per hour. And, oh yeah, I was doing 55, gets right up to speed, no problem with that big fucking 430 V8 in it. Gets right up to speed, moves, and the car just plain glides. Fucking glides down the road. It doesn't cruise, it glides. It's gorgeous. As an aside, I have to show you this. Perfect. After 49 years. Yep, what America used to be like. I forgot to mention, look how thin the steering wheel is. It's tiny. And it's such a pleasure to drive. And the power steering just works so fucking well that, I mean, a pinky is all you need to actually steer this thing. It drives beautifully. That's why I bought it, because of how it drives, not because of really anything else. It's just because this is a piece of Americana gone by. The room in here, I mean, it's tremendous. The car is tremendous. It's 17.6 feet long. It's huge. The Big Six pales in comparison in styling, in length, and in power. I think the Big Six really would smoke this thing just because of how old it is. And, you know, I mean, that engine doesn't look like it's too happy after 118,000 miles. They didn't last that long. But anyway, I bought this car not only of how it looks, but also because of how it drives. It's just something that you must experience. And if you're over, believe you me, I will be happy to give you a ride in it. Absolutely. I've had this car for not even a week yet. Oh, actually, is it a week? Almost. And after that, That's it. I don't know what the future holds. Hopefully it'll keep running, but it is pretty easy to work on. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you click like. Make sure you click subscribe. And take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.